Welcome back. Joining us now is Laura Kelly, the head of the Miami-Dade Democratic Party, and Kevin Cooper, the chair of the Republican Party in Miami-Dade. Well, thank you both for getting up early on this Sunday morning. Turnout, I think we're looking at low 20s probably. Are you guys happy with turnout, how it's shaping up so far? Kevin, let's start with you.
Well, Democrats have a lot more competitive primaries than we do. So they're having higher turnout specifically in those areas. But it is a competitive primary. People are turning out. They're making their voice heard, and we're very, very happy about that.
Laura, what are you hearing out there? Are you hearing any excitement?
I'm hearing a lot of excitement, and our turnout is phenomenal. We have about 47% so far turnout compared to the Republicans at 35%. And I think we're going to continue to see that into Election Day. And Kevin's absolutely right. There's a lot of excitement, especially in Congressional District 24. But, you know, the Republicans also have a very competitive primary with a gubernatorial election.
Let's talk about the gubernatorial primary for a second. I hinted in that package that depending on how James Fishback does, Republicans could have a Fishback problem. Do you think James Fishback is going to be much of a factor in this race? Where do you think he's going to end up?
Oh, he's not going to end up as our nominee, I can tell you that.
But if he ends up with 15 or 20%, 1 in 5 voters, 1 in 4 voters, would that be a problem?
A loss is a loss, and you know we're going to move forward. I do not think James Fishback is the future of our party.
Laura, I'll let you weigh in on Fishback, then I'm going to yell at you about David Jolly and why he can't fundraise.
You know, James Fishback is, I think, a problem in general, but I obviously speaking to a segment of the Republican Party, particularly young men, as was mentioned earlier, and I think that's problematic for the party as a whole, and we're going to, you know, capitalize on that as much as we can as well.
Well, I want to stay with that for a second because in the next half hour, when you're going to do this hit and then you're going to come back in the second half hour, we're going to talk about the Senate race and DSA. So we're going to talk about some of the issues that the Democrats have on their side. But sticking with the issue of Fishback and the voices that he seems to be speaking to, are you concerned that between the America First crowd that doesn't want to see any more involvement in wars, the issues with regard to raising gas prices, this is a bad, tough environment for Republicans. Where do you think this goes right now?
Not at all. I mean, I think, you know, if we're focused on one element of the primary, we have a whole other separate section of our primary too. We've got a member of Congress, we've got a Speaker of the House, and we've got a Lieutenant Governor who are competing on big and bold ideas for the future of our state. And to focus on one fringe candidate, I don't think is necessarily.
Well, that's the question, though. Is he fringe or not?
I believe he is.
All right. Now, big news was made in Miami-Dade County in 2024 when Dade County, for the first time in decades, went Republican, went red in the presidential election. You're smiling.
1988.
Yeah,
yes.
You're smiling. You know, I'm going to start with Laura. Why do you think Miami-Dade went red, and what do you think the attitude is 2 years later?
I think the biggest factor for Miami-Dade going red was low voter turnout, particularly amongst Democrats. And at the end of the day, people stayed home, and there was a number of reasons for that we've talked about before. People were not happy about Joe Biden, and they weren't happy about the race that Kamala Harris ran. And you know, we were very present to the mistakes that were made, and we've tried to overcome that this year, and I'm excited that we have. I mean, I think the Miami mayoral race just demonstrates the desire for change and the fact that Miami-Dade fundamentally is a blue county.
Oh no, Miami-Dade is not a blue county. We have a voter advantage of 40,000 Republican voters. We are registering thousands every single month. I mean, that's just happening naturally. People are going to the DMV, to the elections department, they're registering. And frankly, the reason I think we're going to keep the county red in 2026 is we're offering big and bold ideas for Florida's future. And the Democrat Party has nominated, or will be nominating on Tuesday, 2 candidates who are fundamentally anti-Trump, but they don't stand for anything. There's a fundamental difference between standing for something and being against something. We are offering solutions. We're offering a future for the state.
So when you talk about affordability, are gas prices not directly tied to the war with Iran? Are we not seeing higher prices in grocery stores and the rest of it, in part because of that, as well as because of tariffs? Or is inflation not going up? Wages not keeping down? What is the message that you think the Republicans are running on?
Well, those are temporary, and I think those are due to global geopolitical issues. But Florida right now has a choice in front of it. Property taxes. We're offering a real solution on property taxes.
Oh,
We
wait,
wanna
wait, so
reduce
we're
property
going to get to
taxes.
that in a second.
But the
I have-
Democrat Party is just saying, no, we don't want it. We want to keep your taxes high. And what I'm saying is on our side is we're offering solutions to problems. We're not just being anti-anything. We're offering solutions for Florida's future.
I want to talk about property taxes, but I forgot I was supposed to yell at you about Byron Donalds having $100 million and David Jolly having about $6 million. Why can't David Jolly raise money? And how can he possibly compete in the state of Florida if he hasn't been able to raise enough money to campaign?
Listen, I think that money in politics is obviously an important issue. It takes money to fund campaigns, but it's not the end-all be-all. It's not money that votes. It's the voters that vote. And I believe that the idea that the Republicans have big and bold ideas, look, they've run this state for over 28 years. The problems that we see in Florida are directly the result of our Republican legislators. People want change, and people are going to vote for change. And I think that change is going to be a Democratic governor, David Jolly.
So he just announced that he's supportive of the property tax plan, which you may be the only person I've heard that is actually actively saying that.
Oh.
I mean, there's no pro-property tax plan. Not even the governor is willing to come out and talk about it anymore. Where's your view on the property tax plan?
It's interesting to me that a Republican wants to defund the police, frankly. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
That's an absurd allegation. That's preposterous.
The police unions, the sheriff's unions, the firefighters unions have all come out against this tax plan. Even our Attorney General Meyer, in rewriting the tax amendment, has said there was a lack of transparency. And frankly, what it is part of the Republican desire to control local governments, because they've gerrymandered this state so that they maintain power and control in the state legislature. And the last bastion of Democratic control is our local governments.
All right, I'm gonna give you the last word, then we're gonna take a break, and you'll come back in the next half hour. We'll fight some more.
It's not applying only to Democrat cities. It applies to Republican cities too. It's not limited only to one municipality or another municipality. We're going to lower taxes for everybody, and that's a good thing.
All right. We'll probably talk a little bit more about this, I'm sure.